Cycling for me has never been about the bikes. They've only ever been the prerequisite tool. I do not see just a bike race, I see riders on heroic journeys and warriors doing battle. At one point, cycling was the most popular sport in Europe because newspapers told magnificent tales about epic races and crafted the great champions into legends. But with the advent of television, cycling lost some of its mystique, and that golden age of journalism and narration has perished. So now let us try to return some romance to the beautiful sport. Let us praise and give glory to phenomenal performances to be remembered for decades to come. Let us dwell on the moments that inspire and move us. Let us chronicle the rise and fall of heroes. Let us chart these life-changing journeys, these cycling odysseys. All right, welcome back to another episode of Cycling Odysseys. I'm your host, Patrick Santino. We're doing another Tour Rewind stage today. Just to throw it out there, if you don't know the format of the show and the intro wasn't enough, please go check out one of the early introduction episodes. The very first one on the queue will probably be the best. So today, we're doing stage 12 of the 2020 Tour. We still got the bad taste of the relegation from yesterday in our mouths, but this one made up for it. This was a pretty good stage, pretty fun, pretty exciting. I ended up making a pretty wonky recap about it, as you'll hear. Like, of everything that I could have related it to, I picked a very goofy thing. And it even shocks me still. So it's kind of the fun of it. So yeah, with that, let's jump into it, and I'll talk more about it after. Never give up, never surrender. Tour de France 2020, stage 12, Chamonix to Saran, 218 kilometers. Baby Spartacus comes of age in the thrilling hilly finale into Saran. Winston Churchill and the British people in their darkest hour, Unbroken's Louis Zamperini, Frodo and the Fellowship of the Ring, the Galaxy Quest crew. It is an ancient theme with countless stories, but we humans all find their resilience so inspiring, dear readers, that most of us are always happy to hear another one. And it is one of the great beauties of cycling that we are treated to so many such shows of fortitude, sometimes multiple per day. And today was the best of the tour thus far. After yesterday's ruling, which may have decided the winner of one of the 4 jerseys at the tour, which, it must be noted, even Sam Bennett of Deceuninck Quickstep disliked the ruling because he wants to earn the Green Points jersey himself, Peter Sagan and his Bora Hansgrohe team did not wilt or roll over. They went right to work trying to close the points deficit to Bennett. Dear readers, as you know, I am now openly rooting for Sagan to come back into contention in his points competition. With the hilly 60-kilometer finale on today's stage, containing most notably the Cat 3 climb of the Côte de la Croix de Paix, followed by the Category 2 climb up the Suc d'Amay, Bora Hansgrohe swarmed to the front of the peloton to take up racing duties. With these hills, it was another opportunity for Sagan to score many points, while Bennett, if dropped, would score none. Unfortunately, the Bora team were in a tricky position. The breakaway of 6 riders was only 2 minutes up the road. Thus, when they increased the pace on the hills in order to drop all the other sprinters, they brought the breakaway back too quickly. On the lower slopes of the Croix de Paix, most sprinters, including Bennett, were dropped, but the breakaway was brought to within 30 seconds, which encouraged new and fresher and stronger riders to attack. It would become difficult for Bora to neutralize the attacks and maintain a peloton containing their leader, Peter Sagan, who was on the rivet. The first riders to move were Marc Soler of Movistar and, oh dear readers, surely you know which team will be trying something, 2 Sunweb riders, Tish Benoot and Soren Kragh Andersen. The persistence and depth of Sunweb this tour has been remarkable. Cees Bol third on the Stage 1 sprint. Mark Hirschi second on Stage 2 in Tunis. Again, Bol second on Stage 5 with a great lead out. Nicholas Roach in the strong breakaway on Stage 6. Again, Hirschi with the heartbreaker on Stage 9. The good lead-out train from the whole team on Stage 10. At no point have they given up or doubted. Surely this wonderful team has held their heads high, knowing that if they keep putting themselves in such winning positions, surely, just statistically, one of them is bound to pay off. Thus, Benoot and Andersen began the assault on the last 40 kilometers of the stage, and the other teams followed Sunweb's lead, knowing the quality of their riders to be able to make some escape stick across this rolling terrain. Many riders tried to bridge across the gap, but dear readers, it is too difficult to even attempt to name them all. Soler went over the top of the climb solo with a few seconds lead, but he was soon caught again by the select group of the said Benoot and Andersen, who were joined by Sunweb teammate Mark Hirschi, Max Schachmann of Bora Hansgrohe, and Quentin Pacher of B&B Hotels Vital Concept. All the teams knew the strength of the Sunweb trio of Benoot, Andersen, and Hirschi, and the alarm bells were sounding. A 20 or so man chase group, led by Bob Jungels of DeQuintet Quickstep, frantically attempted to bridge the gap, but they made no inroads on the descent. And at the bottom of the Category 2 Suc de Mai, Benoot emptied the tank for his Sunweb teammates Andersen and Hirschi. Over the 11% gradient section, Soler attacked solo again, but Bora's Schachmann and Sunweb's Hirschi attempted to close the gap. Behind, the best riders were pushing on in an elite chasing group a couple dozen seconds ahead of the peloton. Jungels was done, having given everything for his Quickstep teammates Dries Devenins and, you guessed it, dear readers, Julian Alaphilippe, our musketeer who had bridged to this chasing group as well. But at the front of the race, Soler was caught by Schachmann and Hirschi. Immediately, Mark Hirschi counterattacked, and immediately Mark Soler bowed his head in defeat. Soler knew right then the writing was on the wall. He had no hope of a stage win when Hirschi made that sort of attack. Mark Hirschi of Team Sunweb was solo once again at the front of the Tour de France. The Stage 9 loss in the sprint had not been easy for him to swallow. Surely it would fuel him for his final 30-kilometer escape. Soler and Schachmann were still chasing with little hope, but it was Julian Alaphilippe the musketeer in command of the chasing group 35 seconds behind, who was Hirschi's biggest danger now. Hirschi seemed to slow, but he actually maintained the same effort while the gradients became steeper and steeper. There was a flat respite and Hirschi began motoring again. I think it was at this point, dear readers, most of us believed this was another real-deal Mark Hirschi attack. But he was not at the top of the climb just yet. The road pitched steeply once more. Surely we all began to have the same thoughts. Yes, come on, Hirschi. We are rooting for you once again. And now, he is over the top. He has a good descent for a bit of recovery, and he is a fine descender. But dear readers, the descending we saw from Hirschi on Stage 9 was only a B+ compared to the work he handed in today. In following coverage of Stage 9, it became apparent that it is a safe assumption that a Swissman always makes a fine descender, for many come out of the womb with downhill skis on their feet. And like Sean Kelly to Sam Bennett, it was confirmed Spartacus Fabian Cancellara has had a hand in Hirschi's rise, enough to consider Mark Hirschi to be a baby Spartacus. Cresting the top of the climb, baby Spartacus emulated his mentor's renowned bike handling skills. He became a daredevil, conserving every bit of speed he could. The corners were sharp, but baby Spartacus nimbly skidded through a couple of them as he kept the bike upright while his brakes locked up. Unfazed, baby Spartacus plummeted downwards. Oh, he looked marvelous in the aero tuck, sitting on the top tube. Surely there is a new candidate for best descender in the peloton. I tell you, dear readers, flying down this descent, he looked like a spacecraft re-entering the atmosphere. At the bottom of the descent, with 18 kilometers to go, Hirschi had a 35-second gap on Schachmann and Soler, a 55-second gap on Alaphilippe and his chasing group, and a 1-minute 53-second gap on the peloton, containing all the GC favorites. But the run-in was not simple. The entire thing was still, left and right, up and down, not a stretch of straight road, not a meter of flat. Behind, the chasing group was not cohesive, and the musketeer was forced to attack to close down the gap. But always, someone from the group latched on to Alaphilippe, like an anchor weighing down his progress. Our musketeer tried 3 of these attacks, but to no avail. They only ended with the chasing group swallowing up Schachmann and Soler. The road would rise up, and Hirschi would sustain the high tempo, never letting up for even a single pedal stroke. The road would sink down, and Hirschi again would drop into the aero tuck, zipping down at the speed of sound. He was dialed in, on an all-out assault for the stage win. With 5 kilometers to go, baby Spartacus still had a 39-second gap on the chasers, while Alaphilippe still kept attacking them because they lacked cohesion. At this point, dear readers, it became clear that Mark Hirschi, baby Spartacus, could not be stopped this day, and he would not be denied the victory he had already almost tasted twice before. What must it be like, Mark, to be on the wrong end of 2 thrilling finales in the span of 8 days? On Stage 2, you rode with the famous musketeer Julian Alaphilippe, but you were vanquished in the sprint. On Stage 9, you impressed us all. You were the daring man, measuring a great effort for 90 kilometers solo, only to be engulfed in the race for yellow and vanquished by 2 certain Slovenians. How did it feel on the rest day, Mark? Did you think you had blown your chances at this tour? Not many riders even get 2 chances for the win like you had. Did you think that was it? Your shots fired? Your reserves spent? This is the first Grand Tour you have ever done. Your first 3-week odyssey. On the first rest day, did you feel like an explorer on the edge of the wild, about to enter unknown territory? Having never done a race longer than 10 days, did you wonder if you could keep the same form, or if you would have to enter survival mode just to make it to Paris? Were you scared you would miss opportunities to perform on such stages as this that on paper suited you? Perhaps. Perhaps these thoughts did pop into your head on Sunday night and on Monday's rest day. But it seems, I deduce, with the help of your team, these doubts were shooed away. Never give up. Never surrender. Did you and your Sunweb team watch Galaxy Quest on the rest day and laugh from the depths of your bellies? Or has the phrase been ingrained in your team's ethos? Quite frankly, Mark, you and your team came into this tour with one of the quietest lineups on paper. Nobody expected you all to make as big of a splash as you have. But surely, you and your teammates and your staff have been keeping morale high and not seeing the missed opportunities as wasted, but as building blocks and signs that you have all been on the right track. Your power numbers have been good. The group has been gelling well. For 12 stages, you guys have continued to try your luck, fire your arrows, and finally, it has converted into a win today. It has been a lesson in persistence for all us viewers, and once again, we are all happy to see you rise to the top. Not a viewer was rooting against you today, Mark. When you started grinning with 300 meters to go, so did we. It was wonderful to see you sit up and celebrate across the line, because we had all seen it as a win earned and deserved. Congratulations, Mark Hershey. Thus far, Baby Spartacus has been the revelation of this tour. All right, yep. So that was the stage. For the life of me, cannot think why I thought to relate to Galaxy Quest. I think I was actually just struggling for stuff, and that came into my head. Those lines. It's a pretty funny movie. It's worth the watch for sure. And it's kind of a spoof the entire time, but that's what makes it funny. And they actually pulled it off, unlike some spoof movies which are really dumb. But anyways, yeah, this was it. Everybody was happy when Hershey won. That was pretty awesome. Not a ton more to say about it. Al Philippe chasing behind, Mark Soler, Max Schachmann, they were all pretty worthy adversaries there. Let's see. I don't know. I think I might just keep this one short as well, because this is the second one coming out today. I think I'm gonna put out 2 more tomorrow of the tour, and we're about to start heading back to some team previews again. I'm starting to get this stuff banked up once again, thankfully. But yes, I got it's crunch time now. I'm working through the stages, or I did, and then Provence starts tomorrow? I think this is going to come out today. So Provence starts tomorrow. And so obviously I'm working through that. And then, I'm hoping to have everything done by UAE Tour, which I think should be doable. We'll see. Definitely by opening weekend for sure. I have to also write about the early season. Like I get that they had to shut down all these races and stuff. And these ones were like fine losses, but I mean, opening weekend, we gotta make it count. Oh man, we gotta make sure we can do it. But yeah, okay. With that, follow me on Twitter, Cycling Odysseys, cyclingodysseys.com for the blog, cyclingodysseys@gmail.com. Send me an email about anything. I have more fun stuff planned and everything, so please definitely shoot me any ideas that you have too about anything cool whatsoever related to cycling and how epic or adventurous it is. And please subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star review. Eventually I'll start reading them out, and if it's really good, I'll give you a prize for it later. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. Vive le cyclisme.